Let's have a look at one of the most important news introduced by globcon version 1.13, the templates. On the File menu, you can load a template or you can load a factory template. What's the difference? A factory template is something which has been pre-configured by the several manufacturers. We are starting with two examples in this release with the basic PA to deploy a PRODIGY.MP or a large live festival template. The several manufacturers, in this case Direct Out, are offering descriptions of the template. For example, there's an available PDF which is describing what's inside of the template. If you're happy with two sets of console with 4 channels each, left, right, sub and fills, a couple of stereo input with full processing, one microphone to be sent to smart, one pink noise to smart, one pink noise to PA. And then in terms of output, you are happy with full processing, IIREQ, FIREQ, dynamic and delay for a main left and right, a delay left and right, which can also be used as outfill left and right, fed with left and right, a delay mono 2, usable also for mono send left and right sound at -60 dB, a sub fill and a fills, and with clean signals with no processing inside of the PRODIGY.MP to be further processed outside of the PRODIGY.MP, such as a clean left, clean right, clean sub, and clean fill. This is the basic template that you want to use. Oh, on top of that, you have a recording and broadcasting output already prepared with full processing, recording left and right number 1, recording left and right number 2, and 4 mono recording. If you just want to load the template and start use it, you can do it. But if you can scroll down and read more about the internal connections and how the template is achieved, you can. But you don't really necessarily go through the entire document. You can simply open up in globcon and transfer all the information in a real device starting using it. We can also have a look at the other template that the first version of globcon is offering, which is a large festival template, which is just a bigger version of the previous one, where the number of the inputs are much more. So 4 sets of console with up to 4 channels each, left, right, sub, and fills, 4 stereo inputs with 4 processing, for example, for working music and DJs or stereo consoles, 4 mono input with 4 processing. Think about the presenters on the stage with the microphone, which goes straight to the PRODIGY.MP because you never know which is the console live in a given moment. 1 evacuation alarming signal, 1 microphone to be sent to smart, straight connected to the PRODIGY.MP for smart measurement, 1 pink noise to be sent to smart for the reference signal, and 1 pink noise to the PA. In this case, the PA output here is much more performant with basically the same structure of IIREQ, especially for all pass filters, FIREQs, dynamics and delay, but in this case you have more fits. So you have a complete main left and right, outfill left and right, front fill 1 and 2, 2 lines for different subs, 4 different lines of PA, and 4 auxiliary PA subs, which can be used, PA aux, which can be used for anything. Plus the 4 typical clean signals not processed inside of the PRODIGY.MP, but just a result of the mixing of the several inputs, creating the left, right, sub, and fills clean feed for extra processing outside of processing, plus the recording and the broadcast output as mentioned before. Again, in the PDF, you can drop down pages and see how the internal structures are made. In this case, it's clear that in a festival environment, it's a good idea to get from the hardware input to the input manager to have the input fail over on a per channel, and then the flex channels are the ones connecting the 4 consoles. And then you have the stereo consoles managed with pairs of flex channels, other hardware inputs. All the inputs are then managed with groups to ease the fade in and fade out of the entire number of the channels belonging to the same console or the same input, stereo input or mono input. Then you have the description of how the internal metrics and buses are configured in order to achieve the best management of the entire PA during your festival. So you can scroll down, you can see which are the matrix mixer used to deploy the several chunk of the PA system. So in this case, 3 matrix 8x8 are used to manage the several chunk of the PA, and so on. You will have the time to read through all the pages of the PDF. But the easiest way is just to proceed and load something. For example, let's load the live festival template. We proceed and we say load. It's clear that now we need to decide which is the real PRODIGY.MP that you want to deploy. Here you have 2 options. You are really ready to connect to the real device, or you are just preparing the festival offline, just with globcon, loading the templates, tune whatever you want to tune, and then in a second moment you will be able to transfer the real information into a device. Since I have a device ready to be connected, I can decide to select a real device. I can click on Start. Among the ones available in my network, I will select this one. Clicking on Select, I can proceed, and I say, okay, in this case the template is only based on one device. In case I would have had a template which is more complex and requiring more than one device, I have to repeat the procedure of assign the virtual device to the real one more than once until the configuration is completed and I'm ready to push the environment, the real environment, the information that I created. There's a confirmation required because here is the last chance to quit before you definitely wipe out all the current configurations that are running in the real device to get substituted by the one the template is offering you. I'm happy, I'm doing that, and therefore globcon is now creating the controller. From now on, it's not that different from when you were used to load a previously stored project in globcon. The difference here is big because everything, all the internal decision has been made. And on top of that, all the usual and the most frequently used layout are part of the template. So you might have noticed here a bunch of new buttons. This is a new persistent layout recall bar which will stay up there or wherever you decide to put, and then this is going to be your North Star. Every time you want to, let me get rid of Dante, I don't need that here. Every time you have to navigate the several sections of the pre-made, pre-configured template, you don't have to do anything. So this is exactly what you need to manage your PA system during the live festival. So whoever prepared these template already envisioned which are the several layout combination of windows that you need to manage the entire thing, starting from the last recall snapshot where you can quickly recall the pre-made snapshot that are already prepared in order to ease the operation during the show, or changing simply the visualization. When you're ready to make the tuning of the PA system, you will select the second layout, or when you have to decide the levels for the record or broadcast feeds, when you want to double check which are the valuable snapshots that you want to play with, when you double check the sync and the FS and the SRC decisions that you want to take. It's clear that the template is pre-made for a live festival environment, and therefore the basic idea is plug and play. So if a war clock input is connected, it will become immediately the clock reference, but if that's nothing connected, immediately the internal 48 kHz will become the clock master, and most of the time a festival environment nowadays is managed at 96 kHz, so the factor has been set to 2FS, therefore the Prodigy is running at 96 kHz. Whatever other multi-channel digital connection should be there, they are already pre-activated with an auto detection of the sample rate converter, the fast SRC. So in this case, I'm sitting on a Dante network. I don't even know what it is. Well, actually, I know it's a 48 kHz. And since I'm running at 2FS 96 kHz, the automatic detection of the fast SRC has been required, so not the automatic detection of the fast SRC, but the automation detection of the fact that we require the fast SRC activated, triggered the the input and output activation, and therefore now I'm having an active SRC which is upsampling whatever is coming from Dante 48 kHz into my processor at 96 and downsampling whatever should be sent from the processor at 96 kHz down to a Dante network at 48 kHz. Again, other layouts are pre-made in order to ease the operation. So what do I have to do in order to get ready and manage my festival environment? It's easy. You just have to go to the hardware input and decide in the input manager. The input manager 1 and 2 are the ones that are ready to feed the left and right of console number 1, and you just have to make sure that you are getting some feeds. The channel left of the first console will actually come from Dante number 1. Since I have linked to 2 because it's a stereo feed, the second channel is automatically patched. I need to patch a different channel for sub and fields in case I have a console which is giving me different channels. Now, if I get to my input and PA management, I see that I am already up and running. So I'm having all the other inputs faded out. The input number 1, which is console number 1, is faded in. And therefore, my PA system, made by main left and right, output left and right, fields and whatever, is already up and running, and I have the complete overview of my entire PA system running. Am I ready to really listen to my PA and really feed the amplifiers? You just have to go to the output routing, and the output routing is offering you already the page where all these several feeds processed are ready to be sent, and you just have to do your real patch. So for example, you are using a bunch of analog or ASC view or whatever, you just patch and then you are having the physical output leaving the processor. If the same thing is done with Dante, and if you are feeding your PA system including 16 different chunks via Dante, you simply patch that, and then the Dante output will be ready to feed your PA system. You can have, as usual, multiple destinations fed with the same things for redundancy purpose, and all those things are the usual one that you always did. The magic is that you don't have to take care about all the connections among the several flex channels, the several matrix mixers, how I did use the summing buses in order to create the 4 musketeers, the left, right, sub and fields and stuff, because that is already part of the magic done already inside of the template. So you are ready to go. And now, if I now make another example and say, okay, fade out console number 1 and get ready with console number 2, you immediately see that your PA is not having any feed because console number 1 is faded out as any other. So let's see now, let's simulate now. In the festival, console number 2 is about to be ready, but it is just giving you left and right and not left, right, sub and fields as you were expecting. So let's go to the input manager and connect just left and right of the second console. Left and right of the second console can be Dante 3 and 4. We go back to the input PA, input/PA. We know that the second console is ready. We can fade in the second console, and we immediately notice that left and right, outfield left and right, delays are fine, but we are missing fields and sub. Why? Because we were supposed to receive left and right sub and fields, but sub and fields are not there. So here's the option. If that is a mistake and they still have to connect, you immediately understand that something is not connected. But if that is not the case and the console 2 is just giving you left and right, you just have to assign differently the sending towards the several outputs, and you don't need to change anything but just recalling the pre-made snapshot, which is telling you, look, console 2 is only giving you left and right. You recall that, and immediately all the busing is automatically adjusted to that decision, and with just left and right of console number 2, you are feeding all the sections of your PA system. It's really plug and play. Now, let's fade out this console and say, I need to tune my PA system. To tune your PA system, you want to get to the PA tuning, and you have a pre-configured situation where you have all the several chunks of the PA system under control. You can unmute the pink to the PA. You can connect your smart microphone just selecting which is among the hardware one, the one which is really connecting your microphone. decide how to communicate with Smart, probably with one of the digital interface and the digital virtual sound card that you might have, such as Dante, for example. You can go back and forth via Dante toward your Smart, and having Smart perfectly integrated in the Prodigy. But this is something that you know already how to do it. There are several tutorials about that. The good thing is here, you don't have to shuffle any longer about too many pages or too many menus. If you want to mute completely the subs and delays, you have the possibility to do that because there are subgroups controlling those sections of the PA. So let's start from main left. You just have to mute the several sections which are part of the PA main. Select among the new version of display of the group members, and then every time you select a channel here, that channel which is selected becomes the focus of the selected channel which is here. So I'm ready to have all the main left under control in terms of IIR filters, FIR filter, dynamic and delay if needed. So if I want to add a filter on the left, I just have to do this, and I have my filter on the left happening. Where I can see that the filter is active, I can see the filter here, but as soon as I go back to the main PA management page together with the input, I cannot forget about the fact that I did a correction in the PA, because here in this display I have the complete spilled version of the main group PA, which is giving you individual information regarding the status of every single portion of the PA. But in the PA tuning view, there's an optimization going on here in terms of real estate, because then I can be quick and say, okay, I'm happy with the tuning of that. Then I'm going to double check the right. By the way, they are linked in terms of parameters for the EQ, and therefore no wonder if they are the same. But now I'm ready to do the outfill. So the outfill is starting from a completely different EQ. What if I want to copy something from the main left and right to start with? Easy. Just select the left and right click, and you can copy the entire layer, get to the fills, and then when you get to the fill, you can paste the entire layer and start exactly where your main PA system was. But those are not things which have been introduced by the template. Those are things that you already knew. The thing here is that thanks to the fact that the new template is in place, you don't have to build any internal block connection. You open the template, you just label the few things that you want to change the label, and you just have to connect your hardware, just to connect your hardware output, and you are ready to go. The pre-made snapshots are the ones that you need to change the busing of the several consoles, the multi-channel consoles. There's another nice pre-made snapshot which is fading out whatever channels should be not faded out, right? So let's say I'm fading in the first console and the second console and the third console, and I want to be quick in fading everything out. I can fade them out, and then you will see that all the inputs are faded out. What if I'm not happy with some tuning on the input? Well, I have the perfect layout, input tunings. I simply select which is the input that I'm not happy with, for example, a stereo console or the mono things, and then I have the full control of all the things that I need here, right? So let's now go to the output, hardware output, and decide, for example, in the settings that in my monitoring stuff is actually leaving my slot number 3, just at number 1 and 2. Because I want to show you that one of the news of the globcon version 1.13 is the availability into the PRODIGY.MP of these quick keys. If you go to the global view and open the PRODIGY.MP in the home tab, we introduce these quick keys, and this little smart floating window can give you the possibility always to have under a click away, I mean few clicks away, the most important portion of the GUI that you might need. For example, to open the global view if the global view is hidden, right? Or if you want to use the new barless section or option, let's say, if you are happy with the places where all the several windows are, and you don't want to run the risk to accidentally close one of those, you can get to the barless. whatever should be barless at that point. You don't need to understand where these groups are coming for. This is exactly what you need, and it's consuming less space inside of your desktop. So the barless button, which is available into the global view here, which is the barless option, is also offered in the Quickeys to have the possibility to, let's make an example. You are in the barless section, you open something and you are not happy with the position any longer. So how can I change that? You simply exit the barless, you change a little bit the position. Well, at that point you can restore a new version of the layout if you want, because you need to have the possibility to change whatever you want to change. Once you are happy again and you don't have to move it any longer, you can start again the barless section. Other important things are the hardware input monitoring. It's clear that with the Solo Manager, I can decide to send the Solo bus towards my monitor. My monitor is there, so whatever now is put in Solo will feed the Solo bus, and the Solo bus will feed my monitor speakers. So if I want to solo what's going on in the outfill, I can do that, and my outfill now is sending out my pink noise, for example, right? If, because I'm probably still sending the pink noise towards the PA. So let's mute the pink noise, go back to the input. The input is now not feeding anything. Unmute the several section of the PA system and see if now I can play the first console. What if I want to solo the console? I can solo the console, and the monitoring section will feed here the possibility to monitor anything you want through the solo channel. If you are here and if you want to remove the solo, you can do that. If you have several channels in solo and you want to get rid of all the channels in one go, you simply have the possibility to get the solo clear here. So the Quickeys are very useful. Let's say now you want to go to the selected channel of one particular channel, which is already here. So for example, in the mono 4 is now the selected channel, but you don't see that. So if you click here, the selected channel shows up, and then you can get straight control of the channel number 4. You can keep it here, and now if you change the other to mono 3, the mono 3 will become the new selected channel, and there you go. When you don't need it any longer, just close it. You know that whenever you need the selected channel, you don't necessarily need to recall a different layout which has the selected channel, because the selected channel button is available in the Quickeys, which will always be there. So it's a good idea to keep the Quickeys in all the several layouts that you want to use during the management of the live template or the live festival template. So it's up to you, but again, if you don't like the position of the Quickeys here and you want to move it and something like that, just move it and restore the several layouts as you always did with globcon. And when you save your globcon project, or if you want to create a user template which started from the factory template but with your own editing, you can simply save it. So you recall the global view in order to have your device and your normal globcon GUI under control. And when you create when you save it, you simply select save as to save it as a normal project or save as a template. If from the edited template you want to create your own template with all the edits that you've done. Next time you start a new project, you can restart from the factory template if you want, or you can restart from your own user template with all the edits that you've done. This is a very quick introduction of the new template. Remember, the new buttons are the ones which are enabling the persistent layout bar selection, layout recall selection, and every template you load, especially if they are factory template, they will include both pre-configured layouts and pre-configured snapshot to ease your life. Thank you for watching and have fun with the new globcon templates.